Today, we are thrilled to welcome Jessa Collins, Deputy Head of International Student Recruitment at Durham University. Jessa is responsible for international and undergraduate student recruitment and postgraduate, I believe, at Durham. And she's here to give us an in-depth look at what makes Durham University such a prestigious institution. So, Jason, could you start by telling us a little bit about what do you do at the university? What is your role at the university?
Yeah, of course. So, hi everyone. My name is Jessa, and just wanted to thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. So, my role focuses mainly on working with students from across the Americas. And just a little bit about myself, I have been at the university for 6 years now. But if you're noticing that I don't have a British accent, it's because I'm originally from Australia.
My first question, Jessa, for you is Durham is one of the most respected universities in the UK, with a reputation for academic excellence that spans centuries, as you mentioned from the beginning. Could you tell us more about what contributes to Durham's strong reputation?
I think a lot of it is down to our interdisciplinary research. So, a lot of universities are really good at certain subjects, but Durham really tries to bring all of those areas of research together. So, it's quite rare that one department will work just in a silo by itself. We're always combining things and working with other academics across departments, but also, internationally as well across different universities. Our academics that are teaching at Durham have connections globally and are constantly, going back and forth to different universities to participate in research. And those academics are the ones that are teaching you the course at both undergraduate and postgraduate level. So you're able as a student to get that firsthand experience with professors that are leading in their fields. And at the undergraduate level, I would say also the opportunity for quite a wide breadth of study areas. So we have a lot of different combination degrees, again, which leads into that is interdisciplinary research. So I think that is really what sets us apart.
Thank you. And I had the chance to meet with Professor Julian William from Finance and Economics, who participated in the fundamentals of your dream degree. And something he said is that this particular department is basically inspired other universities on how to create their curriculum. So many other British universities created or designed their curriculum based on Durham's economics curriculum. So that is impressive. Now, I know many students are wondering what are the key criteria Durham looks at when considering international applicants for undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Can you help us with that, please?
Yeah, I would say that our academic requirements are very academic in focus. So, both at an undergraduate and postgraduate level, your previous academic history is really going to be the main deciding factor in terms of your admission to Durham. So, at an undergraduate level, like I said, we accept a wide range of curriculum, typically IB or APs, for example. Obviously, A levels is standard, but we accept curriculums from we're looking at hundreds and hundreds of different countries worth of applications. So we always try to make sure that we can work with the students. So if for whatever reason you don't see your curriculum on our website, that's an opportunity for you to get in touch with us directly and we can sort something out or try and help you. But it is a very academically rigorous university, which means that the entry requirements typically tend to be on the higher end of the scale. So if we're looking at IB, obviously it ranges for different courses, but you're looking at like between a 34 to 38 overall in IB points. For postgraduate students, I had their GPAs listed on the slide earlier, but if it's a 4.0 scale, we're looking for a sort of a minimum of a 3.3. So that can sort of give you an indication as to where the levels are.
Thank you. I already have a lot of questions. But conclude this part of the criteria, um, uh, what are the minimum points for an IB, and what if you don't have the IB? What options you have available?
Yeah, so the minimum points, like I said, it really depends on the specific academic program. But I think the minimum we would accept is a 32, and that would be for our sport and exercise science program. But the rest of the range is typically between 34 to 38. And there will obviously be subject specific requirements for different programs, depending on whether or not there's an A level requirement. Typically, that's a higher level IB subject. But we list all of those on each program's webpage as well. Um, and what was the second part of your question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
the second part of the question, if I don't have an IB and I want to study in university?
Oh, yeah, of course. So typically, for the majority of students, they would be then looking at an international foundation program. So I mentioned Durham offers one through our International Study Centre, and that would be depending on the specific program that you want to lead into. As long as you pass that program, you're guaranteed admission onto year one of the degree program. But we accept a wide range of other curriculum as well. So typically, when I'm working with students coming from Latin America, they might be taking APs, so we would accept that as well. If you're going to a British school, obviously you'd be doing A levels, and we would accept that. Or if you're doing like a US high school diploma, for example, there might be a way that we could assess that as well.
We have partnered with Study Group, which I believe is your official uh, foundation provider.
Yes.
So through Study Group, we will be able to do our foundation forms. Another thing I want to talk about IBs, something I noticed in Latin America is that a lot of IB schools, they don't have maths or physics or biology at higher
Mm-hmm.
level. So they could have their IB, but they are unable to go to any STEM program because they don't have the higher level. So again, that's a case where they need to do a foundation, or you are more flexible in that regard.
I would say we're not very flexible on that. So definitely the students would be looking for a foundation. The reason for that is because we want to make sure that every single student that is sitting in that first year classroom is as equitable as possible and on the same level academically, so nobody's struggling or left behind. So that's why we have such strict entry requirements. And in addition to that, most of our programs, the first year is all core requirements. So there's not much flexibility in your first year. So it's really important that every single student is able to work through the curriculum.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that. So it's very important for them to for you if you are thinking about studying anything related to STEM to have the right hires. And also as a parent, my advice is think about a school that is offering you this chance to have higher levels in maths and physics. That's very important. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about tuition fees and scholarships, which is what people are asking at the moment. So let's start with tuition fees. I mean, we know that one of the best things about British education system is that your degrees are only 3 years, most of them, the majority, with few exceptions, which is medicine, dentistry, um, veterinary, and probably one more. But most of them are 3 years. So that is just you save money with this, definitely. What are the tuition fees then for Durham University?
Yeah, and just because you mentioned those professional programs, I'll just use this as an opportunity to say at Durham, we don't have medicine or dentistry or veterinary science. So every single one of our bachelor's degrees is a 3 year
It's a
option.
3 years.
Yeah. So typically the tuition fees, the range really depends on the subject area again, but you're looking at between £23,000 to £28,000 per year. So the arts and humanities will be on the lower end of that. The social sciences and health programs in the middle, and then the STEM programs will be on the upper end of that scale.
All right. Um, there are some sort of payment plans, I guess. Just to clarify, everything is measured on per year, not every 6 months. It's a yearly term, if we can say that. And now there are some sort of payment plans for this.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, that is the yearly cost for tuition. There's two methods to paying tuition fees at Durham, either all in one go per year or per term. And Durham is a 3-term system. So that would be basically dividing that fee into threes. And then for housing, I forgot to mention the cost for that as well. Again, it's going to be a range depending on if you go to the self-catered or the fully catered option, and if you have a single bedroom or a shared bedroom or an ensuite. But it's about £6,000 to £10,000 for that first year guaranteed. If you choose to live out and in a share house in your second and third year, it's going to be quite a bit cheaper than that
Maybe.
college fees. But to be a member of the college, you don't have to pay anything. So it's just the actual living in the college that costs.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Daisy. I want to, Jessica, can you help us to clarify? It's not that like IB students are, they have more advantages than those who doesn't. I mean, they have advantages because of their curriculum, but there is no some sort of discrimination. Can you clarify that, please?
Yeah, no. So we list all of the different academic qualifications that we accept on our website. So there's hundreds of different qualifications that we accept for admission, and no one qualification is looked at better or worse than another. We, on the back end, have our own equivalency tables. So we look at, this means that in A levels. So if you have an IB, it's not going to be preferred over a student with, the Hong Kong school diploma or APs or anything like that. Everybody is assessed based on what they have. It just does mean that for some students from Latin America, not all of the different regional high school qualifications are accepted. So the more broad formal ones like IB, APs, things like that are more widely recognized.
Thank you. Thank you. There is another question here before we jump into scholarship because it's a big topic. But um, someone is asking what is a foundation program and what is the difference with a regular year of university. Can you clarify this for our people?
Yeah, of course. So the foundation year is, as Paolo mentioned, run through study groups. So it is linked with the university, but run through a separate organization on our campus. What it is basically it means it's a year worth of study, so still 3 academic terms. So you're looking at the same sort of style of learning that you would be having at Durham University. And it just means that you're covering all the different elements that you need to succeed in that first year. So if you're going into a STEM-based program, you're going to be bringing yourself up to the right level for mathematics or physics or chemistry or biology, what have you. If you're going through the social sciences and law pathway, you're going to be focusing a lot more on essay writing skills and general writing style in the UK. But again, it will still be bringing up those levels. If English is your second language, then it'll also be working on English language skills. So it's basically just a year to prepare you for success once you start the university degree.
Yeah, and the reason of that is because normally British education system has 2 extra years, which is year 12 and 13. So it means that you as a student your level in maths or physics is higher than someone who studied just 11 years. Therefore, the foundation, what gives you is the chance to improve your skills and be up to the same level of any other British student at the university. Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that final 2 years of high school in the UK is just studying 3 subjects in depth for 2 years. So that means that it's already quite a level higher. If you're looking at like a US bachelor's degree, for example, it would be equivalent of the first 2 years of a US bachelor's degree.
Thank you. Um, Now, again, going back into higher levels and similar levels, what if you choose the wrong higher level? Someone is asking about homologating or homologation of their subjects, but I believe it's not possible once you have your your hires, you are not able to change them unless you do a foundation. Can you clarify if that's the right way to interpret it?
Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, if you're studying the IB and you've chosen those higher level subjects, then that's that. And same for A levels. Once you've chosen them, you're committed to it. So, if then you want to apply to a bachelor's degree at a UK university and you don't meet the requirements, you would need to consider a foundation year. Or there are some universities that might be a little bit more flexible than others, but Durham is definitely on the more rigid end of the scale.
Thank you. Now, let's talk about scholarships.
A fun topic for everyone, yes. In the interest of transparency, Durham is really not the best at scholarships, to be honest with you. So, for undergraduate students, it's quite rare to find scholarships. We have some smaller bursaries, which could range from sort of £1,000 to £5,000, depending on the academic subject that you're applying to and also your academic qualifications. So, how high academically a student you are, how competitive your application looks against the rest of the pool of applicants. We are definitely looking to expand this for 2026 entry. So we are in the process of creating some new scholarships for students applying for 2026. But obviously, that's not very useful for students looking for 2025. That's mostly for undergraduate. In terms of our postgraduate scholarship offerings, that would be where things like the Team Durham scholarship comes into play. So that is available for some undergraduate students, but for postgraduate students, typically there's more flexibility for that funding, and you can receive up to 40% of your tuition covered with the athletic scholarship. And then typically outside of that, we're working with government bodies across different countries to support scholarships and funding. So things like Chevening, Culturo, FNED, FIDER, things like that.
How about for postgraduate degrees?
Postgraduate degrees, yeah. So that would be
That will
those
be
ones that I
through,
mentioned, the
yeah,
government
the
scholarships,
government.
yeah.
Okay.
And Durham does have some scholarships for business school students. So typically those will be between sort of £6,000 to £8,000. And if you apply to any postgraduate business school degree, you'll automatically be considered for those. But outside of the business school, again, they're quite few and far between for scholarships.
Thank you. Thank you for that. A very interesting question someone is asking. If you have to choose the three most important points to be accepted at the university, what would be them in order of the importance?
I would say academics, academics, and academics. So it really is all about the academic merit when students are applying. We will also consider, for undergraduate students, the personal statement through UCAS. That definitely is considered. But we look at the academics first by themselves before then you move over to be considered at the personal statement level. For postgraduate students, the personal statement could also be a statement of intent, depending on the specific program that you're applying to and what the department's requirements are, but they'll also be considered as well. And then at the postgraduate level, we also look at academic references.
So when we talk about academics, this for our viewers, we are talking about their final grades.
Yes, previous academic qualifications. So for undergraduate students, it's like what we said, those IB scores, AP exams. For postgraduate students, it would be the overall grades that they achieved in their bachelor's degrees that we're looking at.
For some people, this might sound a little bit restrictive or very difficult, maybe like an obstacle for some, but there is a reason why.
Mm-hmm. I think the main reason why is, well, it's a combination of things. Obviously, the academic rigor at Durham is very high. So we're wanting to make sure that the students entering the programs, whether that be undergraduate or postgraduate, have the right level of knowledge before they start. But also it is a competitive university to get into, and we have limited places. So we guarantee all students in their bachelor's degree first year housing, and we guarantee all postgraduate students housing on campus as well. And we only have a limited number of beds on campus, so that does limit the places. But also, Durham is really focused on small group teaching. So we can't just keep admitting students and admitting students, because we want to make sure that the classrooms that the students are in and benefiting from are small groups. So at the undergraduate level, your tutorials and seminars might be only 8 to 10 students with you. Obviously, the lectures will be a bit bigger, but similar for postgraduate programs. So it is limited places. So that means that we do have to be quite quite strict in terms
Yeah,
of academic
yeah,
requirements.
yeah. So because of that is why the graduates from the university tend to have a high salary above the average in the country, which is I mean, it's the reputation that brings the university, and it's also linked to the quality of the research. Can you talk a little bit about these quality standards at the university?
Yeah, absolutely. So you will find that employers across the UK, but also globally, they know what a Durham student will bring to their organisation. So to use law as an example, we're ranked third in the UK for graduate prospects after Oxford and Cambridge. So law employers will come to our campus to meet with law school students to offer them opportunities to work at their law firm, whether that be, unpaid internships or placement years or things like that. So they're definitely seeking out Durham graduates. And that is true of a lots of different academic disciplines. Like I mentioned, the business school before, it's that link to industry that our academics have, but also the caliber of students that our academics are able to produce. So most of our academic disciplines have 85% graduation rates or higher. Quite a few of them have 100%. So yeah, it really does. It's really hard to get in, and it's hard to get through the programs. You've got a lot of support, but it's really worth it at the end. And we're ranked 54th globally for employer reputation. So it's not just in the UK that this matters. You can take your degree globally.
No, that's an impressive fact. Um, I'm wondering what is the employment rate at the university. The average in the UK is 87%. What
The
is
employment rates,
Mhm.
like of students graduating and then getting
Yeah,
employed.
at the
Yeah, I would.
university?
Yeah, so from the university, I would say it's definitely 90% across as an average. Like I said before, some subjects have higher graduation rates. Some subjects, lots of students choose to go on to further study. So, it's up and down depending on that. But because of the research-led teaching that we offer at Durham, specifically for the STEM fields, things like physics, for example, students tend to stay and do our further research at postgraduate level after they are undergraduate students. And for current students that are doing their undergraduate degree, they also get a pretty generous postgraduate scholarship as well.
Thank you very much. It's very important because we want to spend our time at university to be able to land a job and develop our professional life. And it's a big push that the university is giving to students to progress in that path.
Mm-hmm.
But everything is not about studying. What can you do to have fun when you are not studying at the university?
Well,
At
to be
Durham?
honest with you, I don't really know when Durham students study because they're always getting involved in things outside the classroom. The participation rates for things like sport and clubs and societies are very high, so about 85%. Like I said in the presentation, lots of students are playing sport, and that's typically intramurally. So Durham University students don't wear Durham University branded merchandise. They'll wear their college merchandise. So Hatfield College, Castle, things like that. And they go and support other students as well when they're playing intramurally. A lot of clubs and societies are very active. We have a very high participation rate of volunteering amongst our students, and we have the biggest charity fashion show of any university in Europe. So a lot of students put a lot of effort into that. But I would say generally it's getting involved outside the classroom is it's a student experience that I personally think is unmatched in the UK. You know, a lot of students think, oh, Durham is such a small town, I'm going to run out of things to do pretty quickly. The students never leave. They stay over the weekends, they stay over breaks quite often as well. So they're always finding things to do, and they love being active participants in the university experience. Again, I think it goes back to that collegiate system. There's lots of different social events throughout the year that each college will run. So they'll have a start of term party, end of year balls where people get really dressed up, dressed formally, and all of that happens on campus.
For that. And I think now that you mentioned the college system, there are 15 universities in the UK with a college system, and Durham is one of them. And there are, I believe, if I'm not wrong, 80 in the world with a college system. So not many universities. So this is one of the unique features of Durham. Could you explain how the college system works, and like, when you choose that is before doing the application? What if you decide to not join anyone? Do you have to join?
Yeah, great questions. So, as just by being a student at Durham, you're automatically a member of one of the 17 colleges. So, like I said, it doesn't cost anything to be a member. You don't have to participate in any of the collegiate activities, but I wouldn't come to Durham and not participate because it's a lot of fun and it's a great way to get to know people, especially if you want to know people outside your specific degree program. So the application process for the particular college that you want to be a member of is different for undergraduate and postgraduate students, but it's not tied into your academic application. So for undergraduate students, you'll apply through UCAS as standard, and you'll be able to preference a college type and also list your top 3 college choices sort of in February of that application cycle. So it's after you've already submitted your application, the university then sends you this information. So you can choose either catered or self-catered, and then you can have your top 3 preferences. It's important to say you're not guaranteed any of that, but the university works really hard to try and make sure that everybody gets their top choice, or at least one of their top 3. So last year, I think 70% of students got their first choice. So it's not too challenging. And at the postgraduate level, it's just your top 3 choices. So typically postgraduate students, I would say it's about 50-50 in terms of if they live in college or in private student accommodation. But obviously we do guarantee it so that there is that option for you. But like I said, you can get as much or as little involved as you'd like to, but it really does set the student experience apart. When I meet alumni, people who have studied at Durham out and about in various different countries, they don't talk about what they studied, but they talk about what college they were a part of. So it really does make that student experience for them.
Yeah, that's a really interesting system. Now, I'm thinking, I was wondering, can you, there are, you mentioned that law is one of the most, one of the main subjects that set Durham apart from other universities. There is any other subjects or courses apart from law as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, you know, we have some pretty high rankings for a few different academic subjects. We're definitely known as a humanities institution, so things like history, English literature, theology and religion, things like that. Our archaeology program is top 10 in the world, and it's a fantastic program at both the undergraduate and postgraduate level. Students get a lot of opportunities for hands-on experience, both in field work and in the classroom, typically it's very rare of an archaeology student to be sitting in a lecture theatre, for example. Um, there's lots of different facilities on campus, you know, digging through bones and things like that. So it's quite hands-on. Our engineering department is really great. It is on the smaller side as well. So the class sizes are really small, and it means that you get a lot of one-on-one time with your professors, and the facilities that you get access to, you know, it's not like you're having to wait weeks and weeks to use different machines or things like that. Students get a lot of time hands-on in those programs as well. And then our business school, it's top 5 in the UK, really, really highly regarded, both internationally and within the UK. And like I said, triple accredited, so you could take that degree anywhere in the world.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Um, are there any modules or electives that focus on entrepreneurship or innovation, which is very important if you have this spirit to create or build your own business?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have an innovation hub that's sort of outside the degree program, where students can go and talk through ideas and potentially get funding for those ideas through the business school. But we do have lots of different modules for entrepreneurship and innovation, and we have a stream in one of our master's degrees just for entrepreneurship. So it's definitely a big focus of our business school.
Well, thank you so much, Jessa, for this opportunity. And before we finish, if uh, you have to take in 1 minute, you have to say something like, "Why should I study at Durham?" What would be?
I would say personally, it's the camaraderie. I don't want to say collegiate atmosphere because I've already said that word so many times, but it is what you will get as a student, both academically, you know, outstanding academics, but really, really great social experience as well. There's never students that haven't found their group at Durham. So you'll definitely find where you belong really quickly. And also you're going to get, you know, a world leading degree out of that at the end as well.
Oh, thank you for that. And it's something that definitely we're going to remember this opportunity to talk to you about this amazing university. And thank you all for your part for the questions, and a huge thank you to Jessica Collins for sharing so much valuable information about Durham University. It is clear that Durham is one of the top choices for students worldwide. And before we wrap up, I'd like to mention that tomorrow we will have more open talks, our session with University of Sussex, and then Birmingham University. And then on Monday, the 28th, we will have the University of Cardiff and Aberystwyth University. So make sure you tune in your interested in hearing more about studying at the UK. And also, don't forget about our empowerment and achievement grant. And this is financial support from families who have donated last year to help students with a little push, a little financial push. So this grant is specific for students from underrepresented backgrounds, and offers financial support that is between 300 to up to £800. And if you are interested to study at Durham University, you are more than welcome to use this small grant. Just to let you know, you could apply if you are part of underrepresented students overcoming economic challenges, first generation university students, women in STEM, students with disabilities, LGBTQ plus students, individuals affected by violence or armed conflict, students from single parent families, and applicants from underrepresented groups, including indigenous people or other minority communities. If you want to apply to this support and you want to study at Durham University, you can contact Academic Action, or you can contact directly to Jessa or Durham University, where we could contact you, Jessa, if anyone want to directly ask you a question.
Yeah, of course. Please do feel free to contact me with any questions you have. I'll pull up the slide that has my contact information on it as well. 1 second, sorry. So my email address is on the slide there, but I can put that in the chat as well. So you'll all have that. And you can contact me with any questions that you have at all. So I've just put my email address in the chat now, so hopefully you can see that. But yeah, please do feel free to get in touch with me. I'm always happy to chat. We also have, if you Google Durham University Latin America, we have a regional web page where you can find lots of different resources, but also a link to book a time to have a call with me as well.
Thank you so much. And I have also put my email there. And any question you have relating to the next open talks, please feel free to contact us through WhatsApp or by email. And I hope to have you again, Jessa, for a second occasion. And have a great time. Thank you for being with us and enjoy your time in the US.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you once again, everybody, for attending. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. And have a lovely evening over there in Colombia. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.